sort of electronics slash whatever's handy.
Just exploring any potential auditory experience.
A lot of feedback noises, stuff that you wouldn't necessarily consider music, and I don't know if it even is music, but it's definitely a creative endeavor.
Noise just came to mean anything that was weird.
Sometimes I feel so high, I feel so high up in the sky, in my world, but other times I feel so low, I feel so low in my world. I wanna get inside, stay inside and hide in my world, in my world.
Yeah, it is so liberating to me. Like,
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It could be just anything.
Boston has a long history of improvised jazz and academic, like 20th century classical music, more so than a lot of other areas of the country. So both of those in about equal parts, and underground rock also. So like all three of those in equal parts kind of flow into that genre.
It's usually kind of with like a noise scene. It seems like it's usually about like a couple people kind of doing it. But Boston's a lot bigger and it's more in different zones.
If you live in a small town, if you play noise, you're going to be on the bill with a reggae band and with a hardcore band and with maybe just like a wedding band. Whereas in Boston, you could be on a whole bunch of different bills. Sometimes somebody else on the bill will not only play noise also, but play even the tiny subgenre of it that you do too.
You've got like people like Angela and Vic Rawlings kind of like schooled, like, you know, more like higher, like almost like on the more on the strict improvisational side of noise. And then you have, you know, kind of like, there's like the darker dudes, like, you know, from like Two Dead Sluts, One Good Fuck, and like, you know, just kind of this more like power violence, so, you know, and then there's like, you know, there are people that do kind of this more far out, like freak noise, you know, there's all these different zones, and it just kind of depends on like the groups of people that hang out, and it's like that anywhere, but I definitely notice it a lot here.
You know, like I can't decide to just take up cocaine, move 2 blocks down, and never see anybody again. If I'm interested in avant-garde music, the same people are going to show up everywhere I go.
Like, if you enjoy novelty, it's definitely the place to be, I think. Like, I used to feel like nothing was happening in Boston until I discovered this sort of stuff going on in basements.
All the time.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool thing about the city. I think we're very lucky to have it here, and it's really unfortunate that more people don't know about it, but maybe that's part of why it exists.
It can be stressful, it can be chaotic, it can evoke psychosis.
I want to get people to go out and smash an ATM.
So to be able to like bring somebody to that state through sound is, I think, really an exceptional experience.
My name is Caroline and I'm in a band. It's called Cave Bears. That he acknowledged often wishing that he were a girl just because of the clothes they get to wear. It was really great. It was different from being in the audience because like I felt like I could just do anything that I wanted instead of just being passive, which I guess is what being in the audience is like.
You know, the best shows are just, I don't know, you feel like you got hit by a truck in the best way.
This is such a huge thing, you know, like it can be anything from like pulsing beats with like, you know, some kind of feedback or something, and then that will make me like feel really pumped up, and then, you know, there's stuff that's more like harsh tonal stuff that I think is has a more intelligent side to it that definitely makes me think a lot more.
What I personally consider the most interesting part of humanity is that it's a terrain where you cannot only access with reason. It's like intuitions, feelings, irrationality.
It's a really visceral experience where, I don't know, it's almost as if your whole body is responding to the music rather than just hearing it.
There's kind of a couple different setups. So this was really just set up so that essentially this is just an EQ pedal.
Like loop the videos with it or mix or add effects to them, and then we just kind of take those videos and then mix those together.
You know, doing music is something that you do inside your head more than something you do with your hand. You know, a really good musician, like any musician will tell you, practice helps, and it's great. And somebody who can do a really fascinating virtuosic thing with your hand, that's really cool. But that doesn't make people cry when they listen. What makes people cry when they listen is something that you do in your head.
I think it's very important to not to be scared of being in a place of not knowing. I read it somewhere. To be in a place of uncertainty is excellent. That's my voice. Ha! Hello, ha! So, you know, it's quite dramatic.
You know, noise stuff's really fun. It's just fun to be loud and bang on stuff. Like, you know, why should you stop doing that just because you're not told?
Seen sets where, you know, people have like broken glass and thrown stuff and there's people bleeding and people being terrified, you know, or like I've seen people like set off fireworks or like take saws and like, you know, spark them, and you know, usually the reaction, besides someone just hating it, you know, because it's not to them, it's usually fear is the common reaction.
Ever been discriminated by anybody? From the male's point of view. You understand what I mean? So if I was insecure or blah blah blah, it was because of my own, by the fact that I am a woman.
Certainly a lot of, at least apparent misogyny. Some noise and power electronics acts that can, that do deal with, like, you know, heavy sexual confrontational images and ideas, and that, you know, that turns a lot of people off.
Like I have a friend named Nikki who has performed in a couple different projects, and like her big thing is like smashing glass on her face, and like she'll sit there with a smile on her face, like screaming into a microphone, taking sheets of glass and like smashing them on her face, and even if they cut her a little bit, it doesn't bother her. And I've seen people just be like terrified from that, and then like her boyfriend comes out and takes out a chainsaw and starts like chainsawing a metal table, you know.
Especially within underground avant-garde stuff, within experimental music, that's already so narrow. Like, that's so many steps off the main path of society that once you get down there, nobody cares. You know, so there are some girls, yes, and there are also some people who have drug problems, yes, and there are also some, like, people who have severe social skill problems.
You're giving it more power by ignoring it, you know? People should be allowed to, like, let out their feelings, their ideas, even if they seem toxic.
I think that, again, it's a challenge for women to take if they want to. I think that one is more the woman that doesn't see herself as a creative being, as someone who also has a voice, you know. The traditional role of the women has been to be, look at it, I don't want to, these are difficult issues, but look at the audience. In the audience you have the women clapping and the men playing.
The guys making harsh noise music, they have issues, you know, and they have like a sort of urge to shock people.
Teenager that picks up a guitar and just starts like screaming that he hates his parents, you know, it's just like people feel a certain way, that's how they channel it, you know, and it's like if someone hates women in their life, they're going to hate women in their music, and you know, they're going to express it, that's how they're going to express it. It's not something that we might agree with or be something that we want to be involved with, but it's just freedom of expression.
Noise fosters is people really like digging in and pushing boundaries.
Underground music is still music where different parts of the country sometimes have different flavors, and with mainstream music that doesn't always exist. And to me, there's not a big cutoff between what's happening now and what was happening 30 years ago or even 80 years ago. It all kind of flows into each other.
It's always tough to find a permanent venue for noise, you know, it's like, because it's not something that usually fits in the bar community, because it's like, it's not, you don't really find these like big crowd bringing in noise acts coming in all the time.
Honestly, when I was listening yesterday to the duo, to Babies of Brasser, I was thinking, this is not harsh at all. This is just the way new music is going. I do believe that even though I don't think that what we do now is better than what was done in the Renaissance, okay, I do believe that there is constant change and artistic languages keep having a need of refreshing themselves.
Appreciating sound and thinking about music and sound in terms of everyday life and what it could be, it kind of expands the potential of sound.
Nowadays, it's like a lot of people, they don't want to like hear the noise of the world. They don't want to hear about, they're so numb to it, you know, to what went on in Iraq, to what's going on in Syria.
I don't think anybody should follow anybody. That we have to follow our souls, whatever we need. And whatever is, we have to have the trust and the conviction that what we like is good enough.
It's feeling like there's nothing worth saying anymore. Like, oh, just don't be, you know, don't rock the boat. And I think that's what noise is counteracting. It's, you know, it's saying, no, like, open your ears, you know, open your eyes, open your ears, and confront what's going on now.
There's always going to be people doing this stuff. There's always going to be people touring from city to city. They're always going to try to get shows, and I don't think it's ever going to die, because I think it's usually such a personal thing. Like, whether it's like actually being put out, people are always going to do it, you know. But I feel like Boston is a place that people can present that in an accessible format.
Punk, noise, techno, whatever you want to listen to, you know, it's not just something to kind of attach to your personality. You know, a lot of people, they think that like they are what they listen to. I think it's more than that. I think that music is not the end in itself. You know, it's a means.
That I climbed up and I threatened to jump off of a very high place and kill myself. But it won't be